So to prepare this leather jacket for the custom airbrushing that will go on this, I'm using frog tape to protect these areas where I wanna make sure I don't ruin I don't get overspray or I don't put the cleaner there. So that tape works good for me. And as far as cleaning the leather and preparing it, I'm using acetone and a white shirt. A cotton shirt, a cotton rag is important because if you use a napkin, you're gonna leave paper residue all over the leather. So make sure you use a rag so that, see, the stuff, whatever coating is on top comes off. Just doing multiple passes in case in one pass I don't get it really good. I should have been using gloves, just couldn't find them. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray a white base where the design is gonna go, and I'm gonna use an HD stencil for mapping it out. You're gonna see it's quite complicated to do this painting, so I use HD stencils to speed it up. I don't want to spend too much into preparing this thing. I can't wait to finally start doing the artwork. And on this video, I'm just gonna go throughout my process for painting. And you know, it's not that I'm planning a lesson, but by seeing how somebody does it, my wish is that you have an idea. You're doing something like this. So this thing is ready right there. I'm gonna be using an water eclipse. I think I'll use an eclipse, and I might use a micron. I love using microns. I'm just so used to using them. But this design is really big, so I want to begin this thing. Like I said, I'm gonna prepare it with a white base, white paint, and then I'm gonna use an HD stencil to map it out. So at this point I used the large HD stencil. It came in two parts. I sprayed the top first, then the bottom, and these are the results I'm getting. Just a lot of reflection. So the HD stencil results would have been better if this was a smooth surface, but it gets a lot of the texture from the leather. So from now onwards, I have this base of you know, the image transfer. It gives me a good starting point for this painting. If the pressure is too high, the paint will just splatter everywhere. And I always say in a lot of my videos, whenever I'm doing black and white pictures, I like to start on the blackest parts first. From the edge of the stencil, I got seam lines. That can be easily avoided by using masking, but I really didn't care about protecting because I'm gonna be using black paint, white paint, and everything will be getting covered. I'm going to just establish where the eye socket and the nose and all the black parts go, and then I'm gonna come back with the airbrush with white paint. See, the edge stencil is giving me enough information so that I can see on the actual picture what I'm looking at, you know, but it doesn't do the work for me. It look nothing like the final painting, because on camera, guys, this thing looks awesome, but in person I cannot even distinguish that. Everything is kind of blurry, especially down here. This is gonna be a lot of work here. There's a big dark spot here. I gotta figure out how that's supposed to look. Spraying the edge stencil on this surface was tough because down here is wrinkly. See that? I could have pulled it, but when I pulled it like this, I created all the wrinkles. So this jacket is made in such a way that it's hard to work. So I just gotta make it up as I go, and you know, that's it. Gotta deal with it. For all of you, you might find a lot of value on this thing. You might learn a few things from this. So now that I'm about to start working on those teeth, this one the customer specifically asked me to make the teeth better than the picture, so I'm gonna leave them a little more Colgate kind of teeth. And then just wanna outline them really good. But this side over, it's more in shadow, so they're gonna be darker. I painted them just so I can see them and give me an idea, and I kind of made them up anyways, but that's just there to give me an idea. It's looking more 3D now. The trick on this one is to have the dark background on this specific one I'm doing. Until I did that, it started to show more 3D. Like up here, it is still all stencil result. So you see, this is after you work and you do your painting. In the stencil, like in the camera, it just shows even darker, but the stencil is more faded out. There is not crisp details, everything's kind of like foggy. So now I'm working on the hat area. I've already done half of this area right here. Just basically I'm painting the hat first, all the black area, and then I'm gonna come back and finish off the details on the skulls, the bones, the cards, and the belt that goes across here. But Just doing this black it's kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult because I cannot just outline everything that easily. With the edge stencil, I can spray these skulls again and make a cutout, and that's probably what I've been thinking on doing for this side, as well as for these shadows. These car shadows, I'm gonna make a paper stencil with the edge stencil. I'm coming back with the brush. There is no point on oh, that's my dog barking over there. There's no point on coming back with an airbrush using white because everything will just turn out really dirty. It is called blue shift. So with the brush, the paint still turns a little blue, but it's not as bad as when you use from the airbrush. When I do the shadows, these light areas will look even lighter. The stencil has given me a lot of structure, a lot of information there that I can look at, but it's still kind of fuzzy. But also, when doing work on leather, it's less detail. It's not as detailed as when you do a bike. All I'm using here is Createx Wicked Opaque White. This brush I'm using is called a dagger. It's really good because it has a fine point and it also has a wide area. And since I bought this brush, I think it's my favorite. I use this on everything. Like, I just grab this this brush and I just do everything. Like from detailing to filling. It's just so much easier. I'm painting all this here, I gotta be careful, because there's a lot of little details, and commonly this will not be a problem for me, but on leather those details blend in easily with the rest. So teeth look really bad right now, but I can fix that later with the black. But I don't want to leave too much for the black either. If I just think on leaving things for later, then what happens is the painting doesn't move forward. Okay, so I've created a lot of white there. And for these letters right here, I gotta think what I'm gonna do then. Now I have skipped all the way to the end of this painting. I've done smoke around it. It's pretty much a lot of masking everywhere, really boring stuff. So that's why I didn't add it on the video, but I masked it up and then freehand smoke with kind of like skull hidden into it. I'm done with this painting really, and Only thing that is missing is the signature, my signature, and it's gonna need some LK liquid kicks top coat. That stuff goes on leather and it's flexible and it's gonna look really good. With the smoke in the background, I kind of separated the foreground with the background because the hat is really dark. In the video, this shows really bright right here. In person, that doesn't even look like that. But has been a lot of work to do these things. The HD stencil really helped out a lot, or else these are projects I would simply not do because they are so labor intensive. Customer is gonna be really happy. This guy, I know this guy is gonna go crazy. Like, he has a model set up for the photo shoot, for everything that's gonna happen afterwards with the bike and this jacket and everything. So the last thing I'm gonna do now that the artwork is finished, I'm going to spray the final top coat. And the top coat I'm gonna use for leather is LK shoes, liquid kicks, and I'm using the flat finish. Okay, so I'm here in the garage. I'm just gonna spray 2 coats of this stuff. I'm just gonna let this stuff dry for the first coat. Maybe it will take, it's a lot of humidity here, or maybe it will take like 5 minutes. I'm gonna air dry it with the gun, and then I'm gonna put a second coat. Okay, it's ready for the second coat. All right, 2 coats of this. This is over. Gotta let it dry. It dries in, I think in a few minutes it will dry, but I'm not gonna ship this out until a few days later. I'm gonna give it an extra time so that there is no risk of anything going wrong.